When you think of corruption in American politics, what comes to mind?
Well, that's a good question because I think the answer is different than what some people might think. It is very unusual for somebody to give a member of Congress, here's $50,000, I want you to vote this way, or here's some money, I want you to do this for me. That happens very, very rarely. The real corruption is what I would call legal corruption, and that is that at the end of the day, Congress is very heavily dominated by big money interests through campaign contributions, increasingly through the Citizens United decision, and by lobbying. Is that illegal? No, it is not illegal. But it is a corruption of the democratic process. The impact of Citizens United will be enormous, has already begun. Here's what it means. It means that for the first time, corporations can go into their own treasuries and take money out and put that money into television and radio ads without disclosure and through phony front organizations. How people will see it, how it will impact people's lives is when you turn on the television, you're going to see, if you are sick and tired about all of the ads you've seen in the past, especially ugly negative ads, you ain't seen nothing yet. Because Citizens United is opening the floodgates to a huge amount of television and radio ads from phony front organizations, and most of them are going to be negative, I suspect. There are people out there who are saying, why don't we do something about the economy? Why don't we create the millions of jobs that we desperately need? Why don't we do something about global warming and make sure that our planet remains habitable for generations to come? Why don't we do something about healthcare and address the fact that we have 50 million Americans who have no health insurance? Why don't we do something about poverty so that we don't have more people living in poverty today than we used to? Why don't we do something about education? Well, if you're concerned about any of those issues, the economy, healthcare, the environment, global warming, education, you must be concerned about the issue that Sam asked, and that is the issue of campaign finances. Unless we create a campaign finance mechanism that people of modest income can get elected, that people who are prepared to stand up and take on big money interest can get elected, we're going to have a government that works for the wealthy and the powerful and not for ordinary Americans. So the issue of campaign finance, which may not seem like a very sexy issue or very important issue compared to the economy, compared to healthcare, compared to the environment, compared to foreign policy, the issue of campaign finance is at the center of all of these other issues. And if you don't get a handle on that and get a government which reflects the interest of ordinary people rather than the very wealthy, we're not going to resolve those other issues. I would answer your question in two ways. Number one, frankly, you don't have the luxury of being cynical or the luxury of being alienated from the political process, because what is happening politically is so important that if you say, oh, look, the whole political process stinks and I don't want to be involved, it's really ugly, the rich have all of the power, I'm not going to do anything. Well, you're just cutting off your nose to spite your face. If you hope to be able to afford to go to college, if you hope to get a good job when you're out of college, if you hope that global warming doesn't cause irreparable harm to our environment, you know what? You have no choice but to be involved in the political process. While money in politics is, in my view, a disaster, and that's why we've introduced this constitutional amendment to take corporate money out of TV ads and so forth, one should not be of the belief that you can't beat these guys. When we talk and discuss the important issues facing our country, when we hear what people have to say, we go a long way to minimize the impact of stupid 30-second ads. At the end of the day, conversation, discussion, face-to-face talking is where I think we have to go as a nation. And